Hey, what's going on, YouTube? I figured I'd stop being lazy and actually do it. It's not going to be the best of quality of videos as far as editing and everything else. Not that I don't know how to do it, but I kind of don't have access to it at the moment. So what we're going to be doing today is, this is my 1989 Chevy Suburban. And the thing now that people can do to get more amperage as far as your alternator selection and not spend a whole heaping lot of money is by switching out the old I believe it's the CS130 is the model number, but this looks familiar to a lot of you guys. And we're going to be putting in the new model, which is from 2003, even a little older, but you know, around there. And this one here is an 03 because this was used. This is just for now until I actually get a new one and actually get a aftermarket high output one of this model. And this is the AD244. They come stock in the newer model cars with the LS motors, and they are 145 amps generally. Don't quote me on that, but other than how much the amperage is on here, the overall design of the alternator is better in general. Now with the old alternator, those models were usually about 100, 105 amps, but you honestly weren't even getting the 105 or 100 amps because the casing, the way that the casing was around it, I guess in simpler terms you could say it was kind of suffocating, where it wasn't well ventilated, whereas though this is extremely well ventilated. And it also has the dual fans, and if you notice, it looks a little bigger as far as the depth, but the fans are both internal now. The one that we just looked at, it was just the fan was out front, and the other one was actually in the back as well, but it was inside the casing. This one was external. So long story short, just to get to it, a lot of people wonder what can you do as far as hooking up an alternator or multiple alternators. The next step would be to put another alternator down here right in this bracket. This is where the old smog pump was, but I've seen people do it, and I'm going to make a way to actually house another alternator in there. And as far as this one goes, it's almost, people will say it's a direct bolt-in. It's not actually a direct bolt-in, but it is damn close. Now, this is without me doing any modification so far. The mounting points are like very similar. They're off by not even an inch, not even a half an inch. It's even less than that. So now I see what people mean when you actually place the alternator in. It drops down and it looks like it's just ready to go, but in actuality, it's not. The problem that you run into is this bolt that you get is about the same diameter as the old bolt that bolted in your other stock one. Had to get an extended version to go through not only the bracket, but actually the casing as well. So this one, when I go to put it in, problem is I'm hitting the alternator. Even no matter how much I jiggled it, lifted, however the case may be, that's the issue. So what I'm going to do is, I'm holding it out of the way right now. I'm going to actually get a drill, and I'm going to bore the hole of the bracket a little wider, so that way I can actually fit that bolt in. So it's going to be trial and error for a while until I just drill out, try it, drill out, try it. And I'm just going to continue that process. Now, as far as hooking it up, my alternator that was in here already, some of them have a harness that has multiple wires coming out, but mine does not. I have one wire going into the harness, and of course the wire itself going on to the back. Now this harness wire is going to go, well, this particular harness is not going to go in here, but the way that it's designed, it's almost the same. The difference is this one is squared, and the other one, which is aftermarket, and also when you look in the alternator, you'll see that as well, this one is actually rounded. So the rounded one will go into the top of the alternator, and this one I bought off of eBay is already has the delete for the other wires that aren't necessary, or even if you don't feel like using them. This is just enough to excite your alternator to actually work and start charging your electrical system. Now, I'm going to be using this one But there is an option where you can get this harness and it actually has all the wires in it, where you can use, like, one, for example, could go to a tachometer, one could be for a monitoring system for voltage, and so on and so forth. There's other videos that's more descriptive, but I tried to find one that cuts straight to the chase, which is what I'm trying to do here. But this is it. AD244 drops right in, except for boring out that hole we talked about earlier. And once it's in, everything else bolts right up. And then you just clip here off of the harness that was on the car, add this, click in, boom, you're good to go. So I actually am about to finish mine up, but I figured other people take the time out to actually help us out, so why not try to do the same? But all right, guys, till next time, and the next update. Later.